Recording in progress.
Okay, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us. To those of us here on the East Coast of the United States, it is morning, so good morning. And I know we have a global audience from joining us all over the world, so good afternoon or good evening to where you may be joining us, alhamdulillah. But we're really excited to kick off this first panel of the second day of the ISLA Research Symposium entitled Shaping the Future of Islamic Schools. We had such a jam-packed program yesterday in which we explored many different topics, both within the research and in the schools and organizations across the United States, but globally across many different community contexts, alhamdulillah. And it was so enriching to engage in those conversations, and we're really excited to continue this conversation today. My name is Abdulaziz Ahmed. I serve on the board of directors of the Islamic Schools League of America, and I'm also a faculty member at the International Scholars Academy here in Fairfax, Virginia, where I serve as the IB Middle Years Program Coordinator for grades 6 through 10. And I'm excited to moderate this panel, to moderate this session today, alongside our esteemed brother and panel chair, Dr. Halide Atabay. And so I'm going to briefly talk a little bit about ISLA and the work that we do, and then I'll pass it over to Dr. Halide to also talk about the work that he does at the IIIT, the International Institute of Islamic Thought, and then lead into today's panel session. And again, this session is entitled Islamic Education Across Global Contexts, which will be chaired by Brother Dr. Halide Atabay from the IIIT. For those of you unfamiliar with the Islamic Schools League of America, the Islamic Schools League of America is a nonprofit that serves over 400 Islamic schools across the United States and supports more than 7,000 educational professionals. As part of our commitment to advancing Islamic education across global contexts, ISLA actively contributes to scholarship that brings together diverse perspectives from around the world, bridging local practices with global insights. One such contribution is the recent publication of Islamic Philosophy of Education, Principles and Applications, a work that brings together voices from across the globe. ISLA is proud to have been featured in this volume through Chapter 16, Looking Back and Re-envisioning the Future, Islamic Schools in the United States, which was authored by our very own Dr. Sadheer Khan, Dr. Patricia Salahuddin, and Dr. Seema Imam, as well as Chapter 8, Framework for an Islamic-Based Curriculum by longtime ISLA champion, Sister Frida Shama. Through contributions like this, ISLA continues to help shape the conversation around Islamic education, both locally and globally, grounding it in both tradition and forward-thinking practice. None of the work that ISLA does would not be possible without our gracious sponsors from near and wide. We'd like to thank our title sponsors of today's event and this entire research symposium, IIIT, the International Institute of Islamic Thought, as well as International Scholars Academy. And as you can see here on your screen, we are also joined by many different partners and sponsors from here in the United States, but across the world that is also supporting our mission and vision here at ISLA and the work that we've been doing over these last 2 days at the Research Symposium. We'd like to thank them and express our deep gratitude and thankfulness to their support. Alhamdulillah. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Atabay. But before we do that, we have a small video to introduce the work of IIIT.
The International Institute of Islamic Thought is an educational and academic institute dedicated to empowering Muslim communities through emphasizing diversity and moderation in Islamic thought. IIIT achieves its vision by focusing on reform through advancing education in Muslim societies, carrying out evidence-based research, gathering data, and disseminating this research in the form of translations and publications. The Advancing Education in Muslim Societies program, otherwise known as AIMS, is IIIT's primary research initiative working towards identifying and addressing issues to enhance the teaching and learning experience. For policymakers and educators, AIMS offers data-driven research in the areas of curriculum, pedagogy, leadership, and policy to promote the advancement of education in Muslim societies. The Department of Publications and Translations, DPT, is in charge of the production of key works in the form of books and research papers, which are produced under 4 main formats: books, the books in brief, series, journals, and occasional papers, covering a broad range of subjects such as Islamic studies, humanities, social sciences, parenting, and advancement of education in Muslim societies. Over the years, the DPT has published more than 600 titles in English and Arabic and translated over 400 titles in 35 different languages. These publications are available on a variety of digital and online platforms for accessibility and wide reach. The Fairfax Institute is IIIT's primary teaching entity, which serves as an intellectual forum for both students and scholars. Every year, the Fairfax Institute conducts its summer and winter school programs, providing students with intensive instruction in Islamic studies. It also offers directed research and training in students' areas of interest.
What I think is really unique about this program is that it's not one that is just trying to instill, critical thinking in young professionals, but also it tries to foster, a deeper commitment to your faith identity, and in this case, most of the time, a Muslim identity.
What was very interesting from the session that I was engaged in was the exchange among the students and also the willingness that they had to engage with me in questions and answers. When we spoke also informally, either at the break or afterwards, it became clear that above all, this gives the students a chance to interact with professor types, with academics, in a way that they wouldn't normally be able to do at their universities.
I think what I'm most hoping to use in the future from this program has a lot to do with the connections that I made in this program, both with the students and with the professors. The content was really impressive and important, but I think that it's the combination of the people and the content that really made this program fantastic.
The Taha Jaber Al-Alwani and Ismail Al-Farouqi libraries are IIIT's two main libraries, providing students, faculty, and researchers with over 100,000 volumes focused on Islamic studies, social studies, history, and religion in several languages. They also provide a large collection of reference material on fiqh, hadith, Qur'an, and tafsir, making it a rich resource for research and academic use. Both libraries use the Library of Congress system of cataloging and database search and have the capacity to conduct searches for volumes in English and Arabic transliteration.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We're really grateful to IIIT's partnership in today's event. Just go ahead and put this back. And without further ado, I'd like to invite our panel chair, Dr. Khalil Atabay. Dr. Khalil Atabay holds a PhD in microbiology from the University of Bristol and a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from Istanbul University. He has held academic appointments at multiple universities, contributing to teaching, research, curriculum development, and academic leadership, as well as senior administrative roles in higher education. Dr. Atabay has served as an expert evaluator for the EU Horizon 2020 program and other funding bodies. He has published 65 plus articles and 2 book chapters, and we are extremely excited to have you with us here today. Dr. Atabay, the floor is yours, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Aziz, again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sorry. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you again, everyone, and I would like to first thank to ISLA and then Dr. Khan as well for inviting me as a panel chair here in this symposium today. I'm so honored, and we'll inshallah soon get the panels started for today. This is going to be the first the panel. The presentation will be about 12 to 14 minutes. I'm going to give you a heads up when we, reach to 12 minutes so that you can wrap up I'm talking to presenters actually directly to wrap up the presentation, and Q&As are going to be at the end. So please put your Q&As in the Q&A box.
So that,
okay, excuse me. Okay, right. So without further ado, we'll get the first presentation started with Mr. Rakim Sammy. From traditional madrasa to integrated education, reimagining Islamic curriculum for the contemporary classroom in the Philippines. Rakim Sammy is a researcher and educator specializing in Islamic education, madrasa development, and education policy. With an academic mathematics education, he also pursued extensive traditional Islamic studies through madrasa institutions, completing both foundational and advanced training alongside secular education. His work focuses on curriculum integration and pathways for madrasa graduates within formal education systems. His interests include madrasa policy, identity information, and social development. So, Mr. Rakim, now floor is yours, and please go ahead. Rakim?
Yes, bro. Doctor. I just few moment.
You are trying to okay. So, okay. Share your screen, I believe.
Am I audible now?
It's okay. It's good now. You can start.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening from the Philippines, and good morning to everyone, especially those coming from United States of America. So my work here will be presented to you as part of my master's degree thesis. But I will entitle it Towards Inclusive Education, Traditional Madrasas, Barriers and Challenges for Government Recognition. This research was conducted in a case study of two well-known and oldest traditional madrasas existing in our region in the southern part of the Philippines, which was established in the first madrasa was established in 1972 and the other one was established in 1978. So let me start with my presentation. For your information, madrasa education was established in the Philippines way back then before the colonial era of the Spaniards in 1521. So madrasa education was already established and brought by the Arabs traders to establish Islamic religion, and then they formed madrasa education to strengthen and spread Islam in the entire Philippines. Unfortunately, the coming of the colonization of the Spaniards and including the Americans brought secularization, which separates the religion and the states in the Philippines. So that makes Philippines as a secular state nowadays. This colonization also brought a dualism of education, where there is what we call the traditional madrasa in the paper, which operates Saturday and Sunday. And of course, we also have secular education or the Western education that is operating Monday to Friday. This type of education, the rise of secularization, brought the marginalization of madrasa education, especially for the graduates. Those graduates of madrasa education have limits. Am I audible? having limits with the access to higher education, formal education, and of course, job opportunities. This also creates marginalization of knowledge that includes students coming from secular education or the Western education will not have knowledge about their religion, especially in the Muslim areas. And those students coming from madrasa education also will not have knowledge on Western education, especially possessing skills that they may need in the future. Also, madrasas are well labeled as source of violence and extremism. They are often identified as a training ground for the extremist Muslim or the communists in the Bangsamoro or in our region. However, there is an initiative of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front or the MILF, a leadership of the Muslim Filipinos in the southern region, to include madrasa education in the national education system or the Philippine education system. This is because there is a fact that madrasa education has a low quality, which is merely focusing on religious knowledge. And they have also, madrasa education also have to embrace the evolution of science and technology, and for them to avoid being prone to violent extremism. And because madrasa education increased the gap of socio-economic development, and then madrasa education is also a self-funded institutions where they are only relying on the funding from the support of the parents or the communities or the non-government organizations, while the public school institutions or the secular schools are fully funded by the government. However, there is a resistance coming from the traditional madrasa institutions, particularly to the Muslim areas or in our region, because there is a fact that school leaders or the madrasa leaders are afraid for a centralized government. When a madrasa will be integrated into the secular education system, therefore the madrasa should be governed by central government or the Manila Empire. And then there's also a shift of the curriculum from a mere focus 100% of focusing on Islamic religious education to a half percentage of the Western and Western education. So there is a shift to so-called secularization, and then these institutions will be yes, as I've mentioned, this institution will be governed by the direct government or the Manila Empire. And then there's also a so-called de-Islamization of knowledge, where most of our thoughts are we are being educated that secular education will shift the knowledge of the Muslim Filipinos into a non-Muslim ideas. And then, of course, madrasa leaders also are afraid to lose their autonomy to govern their own institution, particularly on choosing what type of curriculum that they're going to implement or what type of teachings that they're going to teach with their learners. That happens during the time of the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao. And then the time of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, which this autonomous region was established in 2019. There's a thought of, according to the study of the Institute of Autonomy and Governance, the direct supervision of the Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education to the public madrasa programs gains a positive and strong recognition from madrasa teachers. However, they still found that lots of traditional madrasas are refusing to have this kind of program to participate to the madrasa education program handled by the MBHTA, including the two oldest madrasa, which was part of this research. So this is due to the fact that there is a bureaucratic challenges, regulatory requirements, and cultural concerns, strong requirements, compliance for the permit to operate, to allow madrasas to operate. Moreover, there is a fear of losing cultural and religious identity, hinders traditional madrasas from embracing the government programs due to implementing secular subjects, preference for religious autonomy over government and standardized curriculum, and there's also low quality of education which disqualify madrasa to have a no to have a permit to operate from the government. This is resulting to the students difficulty in pursuing higher education and then accessing job opportunities, end up employable only as a poorly paid teachers in Islamic schools. So this triggers my research on why do traditional madrasas in Maguindanao, in our region, not to participate in the government's madrasa education programs, and then what are the challenges? There are some madrasas are trying to pursue being part of the government program. However, there are challenges and barriers. So what are these challenges and barriers that prevents this institution to pursue the madrasa education program? So generally, this study's objectives is to explore the motivation of the traditional madrasas to not participate into this kind of program, and then to identify the issues, especially on decision making on not to comply or to secure to this government program, explore the barriers preventing the visual madrasas from complying with government requirements, and to provide policy, inshallah, the recommendations for non-recognized madrasas and accommodate their education system. So through focus group discussion, interview, document analysis, and even observation, the research found that firstly, there's a motivation for a traditional madrasa not to participate is that there is a historical distrust and resistance that according to some of the key respondents, they are still, I can say traumatized maybe, that there are no any program of the government is a part of their plan to colonize the Bangsamoro people Muslim Filipino people residing in southern Philippines. So this caused even distort the teachings of Islam. So another one is that they are still questioning why should they follow a system that does not recognize our way of teachings, especially the inclusion of Islamic teachings or Islamic knowledge in the secular institutions. There's also a preservation of religious identity. So they really want to preserve their identity, despite that the program will provide them funding support from the government. Unfortunately, they prefer to preserve their identity, especially practicing what is the teachings of Islam, because in secular institutions, as I've said a while ago, Philippines being a secular secular country, is that they are implementing lots of curriculums, integrating lots of curriculums in the secular schools that is not prohibited by the teachings of Islam. Another one is an institutional structural weaknesses. Some madrasas accept
Rakim, sorry, can you unmute yourself? Somehow you have been muted. Or Aziz, can we unmute Rakim?
Yeah, go ahead and say something.
Am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, now it's okay. By the way, if you could wrap up within a couple of minutes, that would be great, Rakim.
Okay, so there is an institutional structural weaknesses also, and there is also a dual system burden for the students. Some students, because these students in traditional madrasas are also attending, as with my experience also, they are also attending secular or public schools, which is Monday to Friday they go to secular institution, public schools, and then Saturday and Sunday they go to traditional madrasas. And then there's also a declining credibility and enrollment concerns because the current government is now proposing a integration of Islamic studies in Arabic language in the public schools, and then students are now preferring a public or Western education. Another findings is that okay. Another finding is that there is a bureaucratic and financial barriers for them to comply with the lots of requirements imposed by the national government. Due to the inadequate government support, they cannot provide buildings or any laboratories or school libraries or any school buildings that will comply them or that will allow them to comply with the government standards. There is also a threat to autonomy and their cultural identity, where they cannot practice what is the real teaching or the preservation of Islam in their madrasas. There's also a curriculum deficiencies and staffing constraints because this madrasa education program by the government requires them to have a qualified teachers. Unfortunately, these madrasas are not able to hire teachers that is qualified or that will able to qualify them for the government recognition because they don't have enough funding to support the teachers, and of course they are also unable to provide or comply with the curriculum standard set by the national government. There's also a declining parental supports and societal shifts. Therefore, this study concludes that traditional madrasas resist to participate in government programs not out of ignorance or indifference, but due to historical and ideological distrust. These institutions perceive state recognition as threatening religious autonomy, fearing curriculum dilution, and external control. Despite government initiatives such as the madrasa education programs and the permit to operate issuance, many traditional madrasas remain unrecognized. Moreover, many madrasas lack the institutional and administrative capacity to meet the permit to operate requirements, including land ownership, formal registration, and infrastructures. This lack of technical guidance, leadership continuity, and government funding exacerbates their structural vulnerability. And administrative limitation also and leadership weaknesses further hinder their ability to engage with formal recognition procedures. So this study recommends, especially the government, that I think should be a restructure or redesigning the standards for the permit to operate process tailored to the unique capacities of traditional madrasas. Creating a madrasa supports funds streams to assist madrasas in meeting basic recognition, such as at least 92 requirements, including infrastructures, development, teacher training, and curriculum enhancement, provide technical and legal assistance for application, and then also institutionalize community consultations, protect religious autonomy in the language. That can also strengthen internal administrative capacities through investing in training programs for school heads and staff on leadership, recording, records keeping, and institutional planning. For this institution, they need to establish leadership structures and succession plans to minimize fragmentation and internal disunity, and forming a madrasa consortia or networks, integrate foundational secular skills like the STEM, incorporating basic literacy, numeracy, and life skills into the curriculum to prepare students for wider opportunities while upholding the primacy of Islamic instruction. So I hope that my presentation is clear, and then I shared your knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rakim. We really appreciate it. Jazakallah khairan for timely conclusion. Okay, our next speaker will be Bello Ahmed. Is he in the meeting room here? Bello Ahmed? Or are you using a different name? Please come forward. Next speaker is going to be Bello Ahmed. We're going to wait a couple of more seconds, perhaps. He was going to talk about moral deterioration and academic laziness among secondary school students. A comparative study of Day Secondary School, Limawa, and Inarah Islamic Model School. Mr. Ahmed, are you around? I think we can skip it, and if he comes in, then we can have him, and then let's skip to the next presentation. So, okay, our next presentation will be by Mr. Sadheer Khan on the application of constructivist and project-based learning frameworks of Pakistani madrasas to K-12 Islamic schools in the US.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Sadheer Ahmed, also I think referred as Mufti Muhammad Hassan. He's a PhD candidate in International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization. And also he's a graduate of Jamiatul Rashid and founder and academic director of Madrasah PK. Okay, Mr. Khan, please, the floor is yours. You have 40 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm audible right now?
Yes, you can start. Yes, please.
Thank you. نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My name is Mufti Muhammad Hassan, and in documents I'm Sadheer Khan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Basically, I am from Pakistan, and I am a PhD student here at IIUM, as you already listen. Today, I am presenting my research on bridging the epistemological divide in Islamic education. This work is deeply informed by my 16 years of lived experience within the Westernization ecosystem as a student, teacher, curriculum observer, and a general manager of Madrasah.pk. My focus is the application of constructivist and project-based learning frameworks from Pakistani madrasas, especially Jamiatul Rashid, to K-12 Islamic schools in the United States. To navigate this complex topic, we will map our journey across 5 methodological stages. We will first locate the epistemological dichotomy currently challenging Islamic schools. Next, we will focus on the institutional paradigm of Jamiatul Rashid as a functional model of integration. We will then discuss the qualitative case study methodology used to analyze this paradigm. Following this, I will report on the hidden constructivist dimensions uncovered within classical Islamic pedagogy. Finally, I will argue for a flexible, organic blueprint that American K-12 Islamic educators can adopt to resolve their internal curriculum dissonance. Islamic schools in the United States frequently face a structural epistemological dilemma. On the one side, there are secular educational requirements that demand academic excellence through modern constructivist pedagogies and active problem solving. On the other side, there are the holy demands of the Islamic curriculum, which requires the preservation of traditional Islamic epistemology and scared transmissions. Balancing these two paradigms often places educational leaders in a difficult position, where they must satisfy state mandated standards without diluting the authenticity of their religious instructions. When institutions attempt a forced pedagogical integration, it inevitably causes internal curriculum dissonance, importing secular constructivist models intact from conventional educational theory and applying them superficially to traditional texts fundamentally undermines the authentic religious epistemology. This forced approach treats Islamic knowledge merely as historical data to be analyzed secularly, stripping away the spiritual and ethical dimensions of tarbiyah and tafaqquh, and ultimately failing to achieve a harmonious educational experience for the students. To find a viable solution, my research turns to the Pakistani Madrasah context, which serves as an unexpected yet highly effective laboratory for pedagogical integration rather than viewing the madrasa as a static relic. We must understand it as a dynamic educational ecosystem. Institutions like Jamiatul Rashid have actively recognized the need to respond to contemporary social, economic, and intellectual challenges by re-evaluating their instructional methodologies while remaining strictly anchored in their classical epistemological roots. A prime example of this successful integration is the Majma ul-Ulum al-Islamiyya curriculum matrix at Jamiatul Rashid. This Jamiatul Rashid is located in Karachi. This specific framework demonstrates how a traditional institutions can systematically introduce modern educational methodologies into the Dars-e-Nizami without compromising its core identity. By operating alongside specialized tracks like the Takhassusat departments and Ghazali University, Jamiatul Rashid creates a cohesive environment where classical textual mastery and modern analytical frameworks are mutually reinforcing rather than mutually exclusive. Furthermore, Jamiatul Rashid have a own Islamic school system named Al-Beruni Model School, where they established this system. I'm also doing my research and case study in my PhD thesis about Jamiatul Rashid education system. The core finding of my empirical research is that the traditional madrasa pedagogy already contains profound hidden constructivist dimensions. When we analyze classical methods through the lens of constructivist learning theory, we see that student-centered inquiry and active knowledge constructivists are not exclusively modern or Western concepts. The traditional dialectics methods employed in studying classical texts inherently require learners to assimilate and accommodate complex legal and theological arguments, mirroring the highest cognitive demands of modern educational frameworks. Moreover, I have several master and PhD theses of education department at IIUM. There is one most important thesis about the case study of Islamic school in Jakarta, Indonesia. I can also give to you guys about the Islamic school system, how they establish project-based learning in Islamic school system in Indonesia. Consider the traditional halakha method and the deeply rooted ijaza culture. These are not merely systems of rote memorization. They are sophisticated ecosystem of peer-driven active learning. In the halakha, the teacher facilitates a rigorous dialectic where students engage in continuous debate, questioning, and communal problem solving. This environment naturally cultivates what modern theories term social constructivism, where intellectual autonomy and critical thinking are forged through sustained scholarly companionship and deep textual engagement. Jamiatul Rashid operationalized these concepts by systematically integrating project-based learning directly into classical subjects instead of keeping modern subject and Islamic studies in permanent silos. Students utilize classical dialectics to solve contemporary problems. For instance, learners might apply the principles of fiqh to design solutions for modern Islamic banking challenges or analyze the seerah to develop contemporary leadership frameworks. This ensures that the application of project-based learning remains organic to Islamic epistemology. Through these targeted pedagogical interventions, traditional textual mastery is successfully combined with high-level cognitive problem solving. We see students operating at the highest tiers of Bloom taxonomy, evolving complex jurisprudential scenarios, and creating culturally contextualized models. This proves that we do not need to abandon classical text to achieve modern academic rigor. The rigor is already present. It simply requires the right pedagogical framework to be stimulated and made relevant to contemporary contexts. Translating this curriculum logic to K-12 Islamic schools in United States offers a powerful remedy to the epistemological divide. American educators do not need to really rely solely on secular pedagogical imports. By understanding how institutions like Jamiatul Rashid adopt the halakha and dialectical model into project-based outcomes, US schools can implement educational structures that are authentic to the Islamic tradition while fully satisfying contemporary standards of student-centered learning. Implementing this blueprint requires actionable policy-level pedagogical structures. School administrators must foster an environment where project-based learning is seamlessly woven into the fabric of Islamic studies, encouraging students to tackle real-world issues using the ethical and legal frameworks derived from the Quran and Sunnah. This approach bridges the gap between religious transmissions and the civics engagement, nurturing students who are intellectually difficult and deeply rooted in their faith identity. Furthermore, structural support must be reflected in institutional policies, particularly in how we assess our educators. We must resolve curriculum dissonance by validating and rewarding traditional pedagogical methods, such as the halakha within formal teacher evaluating. If we solely reward secular formats of instructions, we eventually signal that traditional methods are inferior. Aligning teacher evaluations with an integrated constructivist framework ensures that educators feel support in maintaining authentic Islamic pedagogy. Ultimately, what emergence is an organic framework designed to completely resolve K-12 curriculum dissonance, as demonstrated by the Jamiatul Rashid paradigm. Qualitative mapping proves that traditional pedagogy inherently supports high-level constructivist cognition. By adopting this flexible and extremely validating blueprint, school administrators in the United States can achieve exponential academic excellence without ever sacrificing the authenticity of their religious transmission. In conclusion, My research demonstrates that institutional secularization is absolutely not a requirement for pedagogical modernization. We have the capability to build the future of Islamic education originally, drawing upon the immense intellectual heritage of our own scholarly traditions by bridging the epistemological divide through culturally contextualized project-based learning. We can cultivate a generation of learners fully occupied to navigate the modern world while remaining firmly anchored in Islamic truth. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention and listening me.
Thank you.
This is my end of my presentation. I hope is there any time for questioning, answering, I am ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sadheer. I really appreciate it. I didn't interrupt to remind you, and you are very timely, and concluded. And thanks so much. You wrapped up very well. And okay. So yeah, we're gonna keep the Q&A to the end. The audience, please, put your questions in the Q&A box. Aziz, do we have a Q&A box, or is it going to be in the chat box? The
Just
questions
right there in the chat. That's correct.
It's going to be in the chat. Okay, it's not going to be a Q&A box. It's going to be in chat. Please put your questions in the chat, so we will address them at the end of the panel. So our next, Jazakallah khair, again, Mr. Sadheer, that was a great presentation. Our next speaker will be Halide Rumeysa Küçüköner, and we're gonna call her Rumeysa anyway, not the Halide. We know that for sure. Okay, the balancing religious education and student well-being experiences of primary students attending Quran courses in Turkey. Yes, okay. Dr. Rumeysa Küçüköner is an academic specializing in Islamic traditions in Southeast Asia, the interpretation of Islamic across different geographies in culture and in cultural Islam. She serves as an associate professor in the Faculty of Theology at Dicle University, where she also earned her PhD between 2023 to 25. She was a visiting scholar at the Abu Sulaiman Center for Global Islamic Studies. She has been awarded scholarship from the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Türkiye, also known as TÜBİTAK, as well as student and academic grants from the Erasmus Exchange program. Dr. Küçüköner, the floor is yours. Please move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Atabay, for your nice introduction. Let me share my screen first. Could you see my screen clearly? Okay.
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you today.
Sorry for interrupting. If you like, you can make it the presentation format if you like, but I don't know whether it's in the presentation format or not. But we can see it, is no problem, but
I will try it again. It's okay now?
Now it's better. Yes, okay. Now it's in
so
the
much.
presentation. All right, sure.
Again, assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you today. I am joining Turkey, like Professor Atabay mentioned about it. Today, I will discuss about how children balance school, religious education, and their daily life. In religion, religious education is not just a local problem for Turkey. This is a global challenge for many Muslims from all around the world. We know the children spend long hours between formal school systems and religious education. In South Asia, the students go to Madrasah. In Europe and the US, they go to Sunday school or weekend school. My focus in that study is Turkey, so my main question is simple. How many lives do we fit into a child's 24 hours? In Turkey, we have a dual shift education system. Let me talk about that. Like Brother Rakim mentioned about that in the Philippines, like dual education systems means that some students go to school in the morning, some students go to school in the afternoon. At first, it looks like it gives free times for the children. But society sees this free time as an empty space that must be filled. Brother Rakim described as it the dual system burden. I really like that description. Instead of letting children rest or play, the institutions fill this time with religious education. In Turkey, we call them that courses, religious education centers, as the Quran courses. So the children moves from one classroom to another. First school, then course. The day looks divided. My method is that I will talk about my method, what happens in the reality. I spent 12 months inside this system. During this period, I observed children while working as an Islamic studies instructor as a part-time in the Quran courses. I wanted to answer 3 main questions in my study. One of these that how the children navigate between school, course, and home. Other one is how do parents shape the child's daily routine. Third one is how does this busy schedule impact the children's identity and well-being. And the structural reality of my study is that in that system, the child is not living in only one world. The child moves between 3 worlds: the formal school system, the religious education system, and the home. Each world has different expectations. School asks for academic success and performance. The Quran courses asks for religious learning and discipline. Home asks about the family expectations. The problem is that the child stands in the middle of all of them. They are constantly trying to be perfect student and at the same time perfect Muslim. I called it the paradox of maximum investment. I have 2 kids and I know all parents usually want to be the best for their children. Their intention is love, protection, and success. Because of it, the parents think that more education means the maximum investment. But it sometimes has a dark side and paradox. We learned from many academic studies says us more education doesn't mean the better education. When every empty hours is filled, the child loses rest, play, and free time. Burdens. The maximum investment can produce as an unexpected result: chronic overloading, physical and emotional burnout, and finally a fragmented identity. Let's look at the risk of fragmented identity. This intense schedule leads to social differentiation and identity fragmentation between the students. I call this phenomena is the chameleon effect. Some children learn to change their behavior according to place. At school, they may hide their Quran course identity. At the course, they become more controlled and obedient. At home, they try to satisfy family expectations. So the child doesn't feel themselves never as a whole. This creates a big problem for their understanding of their life. I am sorry, could you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. And let's look at my experience in the Quran courses. While I was working in the Quran courses, a few months later, the students felt free to talk to me about that issue. And I put some quotations from their talking to me. Teacher, I have no time to breathe. I come to school tired. I don't have the energy to play during recess. This was really concerning situation happens, especially when they talk about their family interaction education situation, they gave me many examples about that. They complained about their parents in the similar way. They said me, I feel very tired, but my parents always want me to study or pray at home. For example, one child said me, when I watch TV in my free time, my mother doesn't say anything, but she always looks at me. I feel like she is thinking I am wasting my time. I think as a mom, I am doing the same thing, and all of the mom from all around the world make the same things for our kids. And when they talk about their fathers, they usually say their communication is very limited. It is mostly like they always mentioned about that. Did you pray Maghrib? Did you read the Quran? Did you do your homework? They always complain about their daddy's interaction with them. And this sentence from our children, these are really very real sentences, and they are very powerful for me. And they show a deep problem with our kids, with our children. For a child, play is not a luxury thing. Rest doesn't mean laziness. This sentence summarizes the emotional reality of many children. Teacher, I have no time to read. The child cannot simply be a child. So we ask a simple question. If a child stops playing, what is left? We have to think about it. Let's look at what is the real problem in that case. The root problem is not the religious education itself. The problem is the capacity. A child has limited time, limited energy, and limited emotional strength. When religious education is added on top of a full academic load, it can become another performance area. Then religion may no longer feel like meaning, peace, or belonging for children. It may feel like another task. This is the danger. A religious education can turn into pressure when the child's capacity is ignored or over. So we need to redefine the religious relationship. A child's relationship with religion is not shaped only by why they are taught. It is also shaped by how they learn it. It's shaped by the intensity of the experience, and it is shaped by the emotional climate around it. If the child learns religions with the meaning, balance, and care, the result can be deeper and healthier for his or her whole life. But if the child learns religions with the fear, pressure, and tiredness, the result may be distance. You know, secularization or moving away from religion is common in the world, like in many Muslim countries. And many scholars say new religion is the no religion. This is really big problem for not only non-Muslims, at the same time for the Muslim. May Allah hafiz inshallah. Because of it, we have to think about our religious education method again. But we should not be negative or pessimistic. Let's look at how can we do it fix. Many scholars give some important advice or recommendation solutions about it. For parents should focus on meaningful education rather than just more education. They should protect the child's fundamental right to play and rest. For educators should protect the children's feeling. Religious learning should not only be based on memorization and performance. They should adopt an experience-based, play-oriented approach to religious education. For policymakers should also recognize that parallel education creates hidden pressure on the children. The aim is not to reduce religious education. The aim is to make it more meaningful, more humane, and more suitable for the children. And my last question is that for all of us, if our kid's report is excellent, but his or her soul is tired, are we really successful parents? Thank you for your sharing your time.
Thank you, Dr. Küçüköner. It was a great presentation again. We're gonna keep the questions to the end, and the participants, please put your questions in the chat box so that we can address them at the end of the panel. So our next speaker is going to be Dr. Esra Polat Onbaşı. She's going to be talking on the impact of Westernization on education, Necmettin Erbakan's vision for an alternative educational model. Aziz, if you could just move on to next slide, or shall I do it on my? Okay. So Dr. Esra is an independent researcher with a PhD and master's degree in history and civilization from the International Islamic University of Malaysia. She received a research scholarship from the International Institute of Islamic Thought, IIIT, during her doctoral studies. Her research examines the modernization and Westernization in non-Western Western societies, focusing on cultural transformation and intellectual responses to imported modernity. She is the author of a published book on Turkish modernization and has contributed to international peer-reviewed and Scopus Index journals. Her interests include modernization theory, Westernization movements, literary thought, and comparative studies of tradition and modernity and in Islamic and Turkish context. Dr. Esra, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I will share my screen.
Yeah, please share your screen. I'll let you know when it's been shared.
Okay. Okay.
Coming up.
Yes.
Not
Could you
yet,
hear
not
my
yet.
screen? Okay. So
You are sharing your screen. Well, we don't see the presentation yet.
I opened my presentation, but so sorry. I will try again.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, try it again.
So sorry. Okay, I will try again. I'm so sorry.
You can unshare it and try to share it
Okay.
again.
Okay.
Just unshare it and try to share it again.
Okay, Bismillah. So sorry, everyone.
No worries, no worries. Take your time.
Okay, not respond. Okay.
Okay, we can see your screen now. Perhaps you might need to switch, like if you are using different screens. Or yeah, we can see your desktop now. All the folders.
Oh, just the top, right? Allahu
All
Akbar.
right.
We try the comments. Okay.
Yeah, you can just open it up from here as well if you like, or just switch to.
Allahu Akbar. The first time I faced this problem, so sorry. Okay.
No worries, no worries.
Allahu Akbar. Yes, I will try to share screen.
Maybe Sister Esra, I can go ahead. I have your slides. Do you want me to share it for you? Unless you have an updated version.
Yeah, can you share? So sorry. Yes, can you share?
Okay, I'm going to share in a second.
I'm so sorry again. The first
All
time
right,
I
no
faced
worries.
this problem. Yeah, I'm so sorry again.
Okay, no, thank you, Aziz, for chiming in. Okay.
Thank you,
No
brother
worries.
Aziz, for helping me.
All right, okay. You
Okay,
got your
thank you so
slides
much.
now.
اوكي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح صدري ويسر لي واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Dr. Esra. Today I will present to you the topic, the impact of Westernization on education, Necmettin Erbakan's vision for an alternative educational model. Can you move? Yes. Yeah, thank you. First, I want to make a distinction between modernization and Westernization. Modernization is a concept related to the increase of industrialization, urbanization, literacy, education, welfare, and social mobilization level regardless of culture. Westernization is the imitation of the culture and values of Western societies in non-Western societies. In other words, is this progress of adopting Western values by shedding traditional values, beliefs, and cultural practice. As you can see clearly, modernization refers to economic, technological, and social progress, while Westernization refers to change or loss of cultural identity. When these two concepts are evaluated together, serious problems emerge in every aspect of society. When we focus specifically on education, we see a generation that imitates the West, becomes alienated from its own culture and religion, loses the ability to think originally, and becomes dependent on external sources. For example, a student can solve complex math problem, but cannot tell you the name of the imam in their local mosque. Another example, they know Socrates, but they don't their own scholars. Why? Because they imitate Western culture and values to modernize education. They don't realize that we need is to take only science and technology from West and blend it with our own religion and values. The result are students who can explain Einstein theory but cannot recite a single surah of with the meaning. This is not progress. This is a loss. Think of Palestine. A talented engineer without Islamic values might build technology for the oppressor, but an engineer with Islamic consequences build technologies to defend and oppress it, the same knowledge, different values and different results. Can you move slide? So, what is our proposed solution? Can you move another slide? Thank you so much. Sorry. At this point, Erbakan's proposal show us the way. The first, who is Erbakan? Erbakan, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Turkey from 1996 to 1997, is an influential politician, engineer, academic, and intellectual. Also, Erbakan is the first devout president in the history of the Republic of Turkey. He argues that modernization is possible without Westernization and proposed an educational model that combines scientific and technological progress with Islamic ethical principles. Erbakan's solutions is to create an educational model that is in line with our own religion and values. As Erbakan said, we will not imitate the West. We will take their technology, but we will give them our values. In Erbakan's model, children learn that 2 + 2 = 4, but they also learn if I have 4 apples, how many should I keep for myself and how many should I give their neighbors? That is where values enter mathematics. That is the differences. Can you move another slide? Right now, we focus Erbakan 4 steps. Erbakan's first steps, curriculum design. According to the Erbakan, the curriculum should not separate from knowledge. For example, when a problem is solved in mathematics class, the students is asked not only the correct answer, but also which 10 people will benefit from this information. In science, concept of justice, trust, and responsibilities are discussed during an experiment. In other words, there is a moral conclusion section, the end of each unit. In this way, education goes beyond simply transferring information. Because as scientists, without conscience is like a knife without a handle, useful but dangerous. The second one, family school partnership. In Erbakan's models, values are not only taught in the classroom. The school organized charity campaigns together with families. Parents, students, and teachers carry out service activities together. Neighborhood clinic, visiting the elderly, visiting the sick, and so on. In addition, social solidarity projects are carried out as a class. This way, the child doesn't read about sharing and responsibilities from textbooks. They learn by living them. Can you move another slide? The third, experiential learning. Erbakan argues that children don't learn just by sitting in class. They learn by visiting place, seeing with their own eyes, and asking questions. That's why school organize regularly visit to community institutions such as mosque, foundation, soup kitchen, and orphans. They interview the people working there. They explore how each place served the neighborhood. Before and after every visit, they ask, how does this place serve the community? They also ask, how can I serve this community? Can you move another slide? The last stage, age-apparent values education across all K-12. Erbakan says a 5-year-old and 50 years old cannot learn the same way. Young children learn through play and life. So in early grades, halal and haram came from cafeteria labels and a simple game. Sharing came from a toy day. Responsibilities came from feeding a class pet. In upper intermediate elementary, students take a real classroom duties, manage a charity box, visit elderly, and ask, how did I have today? In middle school, they learn justice and trustworthiness by organized charity campaigns, interviewing imams, and mapping their neighborhood service place. And in high school, they become moral leaders. They design their own service projects. They question every piece of knowledge. Does this benefit my community? And they lead younger students. So by the time they graduate, they don't ask what job I can get. They ask, how can I serve my community? That is the generation Erbakan wanted to rise. Conclusion, can you move? Can you move next slide? Thank you. In my conclusion, if we treat modernization as the same as Westernization, and if we try to modernize education by adopting Western culture and values in the curriculum, we may raise generation who feel distant from their own religion and tradition. Instead, as Erbakan suggested, we should combine Western science and technology with our own religion and cultural values. Thank you so much. May Allah help rise a generation that is both knowledgeable and moral, both modern and faithful. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Esra Onbaşı, and it was a great presentation. Thanks also for timely concluding your presentation. With that, we have, I think, now, is Bello Ahmed, Brother Ahmed, is he still not available? Bello Ahmed, are you in the meeting room? Let me quickly check, I think. No, he didn't show up. Anyway, no worries. I think what we're gonna do, again, thank you very much to all the presenters again, and for the very insightful and valuable presentations. We're gonna have the questions. So if you could just put your questions, or if you could just raise your hands and unmute yourself and ask the questions, then we'll go from there. So first of all, I would like to start with, is it a question, Maya Abdul Shafi, or and Miriam?
It was rather a comment on one of the presentations.
Okay, if you could just move forward and make that the comments, so we can have a discussion on that. What was the exact point you were raising, and to whom? To which presenter?
It was the presentation about the child's time. How can we balance their time in school, and how the curriculum is sometimes working in a parallel format where they do their Islamic studies and then they do the secular part of the education. And I was thinking, if we integrate that, like not have a separate teacher for social studies and then a separate teacher for Islamic studies. Islamic studies can address, or social studies teacher can address Islamic related issues. For example, when I teach geography, I work with the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the creation of the mountains. So, and I feel like this makes the learning more engaging for the students. It helps them connect what they learn in class with the real purpose of why am I learning this? And going back, circulating back to this is all to know our creator and our role here on earth. So I feel like it makes learning more meaningful. It cuts down time on having to have separate classes for Islamic studies and social studies where students are not able to make that connection.
Thank you, Sister Mai. Dr. Rumeysa, I think that might align with the presentation. Do you want to chime in and say something? Or
I am not sure this question is for me, but I can say.
It was a general, yeah, I know, but it was like
Yes,
not specific.
Yes, thank you. I think we always think about the Islamic studies instructor is totally different from the main curriculum, from the geography, from the math, from the science. But when we combine and integrated like in the religious education system, when we integrated our normal education system, but not it is a kind of the observing for the children. You have to do it. It is a kind of selective courses. It will be more beneficial and more understandable. I agree with totally Sister Maria. I am not sure about her name, but we have to combine and integrate it, both positive curriculum and Islamic and religious curriculum together.
Okay, thank you. Sanober, you raise your hand. Please come forward and ask your question, and please specify who you are asking your question to.
Assalamu alaikum. So I have an observation for Sister Esra and also for Sister Rumeysa. Sister Rumeysa, what you explained we face here in the US with children who are going to public school because they are in two different cultures. We are trying to teach them Islam, and we are also trying to teach them everything that they need, that a secular school would be teaching, and they face the kind of problems that you are talking about, burnout and all that. But then the Islamic schools have an integrated curriculum where we are teaching religion at the same time you're teaching core school subjects, and then, like you suggested, an integrated way of teaching. So Islam is kind of woven into the whole day. It's also in action. It's not just, they're not two parts of a child's life, but then the whole thing is consolidated together. And I think you are very right. I feel personally that that's the way to go. The home and the school, you're in an Islamic, in a Muslim country, I mean, you're one step ahead of us. The home and the school can have the same culture. The home is teaching more or less the same things that the school is teaching. Here, when we send our kids to public school, they are actually being taught, I mean, if you're teaching them something is haram and not to do, the public school, it is halal. That's what you do. That's the way to go. So I agree with you. An integrated way of teaching is an amazing way to go. It holds the whole child together. And Sister Esra, I'm really impressed by what you're trying to do. I think you're trying to do the same thing. Actually, even teaching language arts, like for us, English is very, very important. So teaching English can also be through subjects that are actually related to Islam. So you're teaching morality, you're teaching character building, but you're actually doing it through learning English. So this integration is a very, very important and necessary thing. And sometimes when I hear that what the Muslim countries are going through when they're trying to modernize their curriculum, I feel scared because you're playing with the child's identity, religion. They can't be split into two. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Sanaber. Dr. Küçüköner or Dr. Esra, would you like to take on this or comment on this? Or anyone? Yes, Dr. Küçüköner, you can.
Thank you, Sister Sanaber. I really understand your criticism about my presentation because I live in a Muslim settings and it is totally different from United States. But we lived in United States. I really know about the settings. It is really hard to raise a Muslim child in a non-Muslim settings. But I sent my boys to especially the Sunday schools, but sometimes I felt that they were really burned out because think about they were always wake up in the morning very early. They were always, it would be always something. Please recite Quran, please recite your Islamic studies. You have to do it. You have to your homework. It was really hard experience for especially non-Muslim settings, but we have to think about it. Because, as I said in my presentation, new religion is the no religion. This is I think the Professor Atabay knows about it more a lot than me. This is it's a kind of virus for all around the world, and especially for young generation, they don't care about the religion. I don't talk about the atheism. Atheism, it's a kind of religion. You say, I don't believe God and I will support it. But no religion means that you don't care about the religion. You don't think about that. You don't think about the God. This is really big problem. Because of it, we have to think about that in Muslim settings and at the same time in a non-Muslim settings. This is my share about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that's a very important and critical, important problem. I know that we're facing in the Muslim nations. So, for example, myself, I'm a graduate of Imam Hatip School, so it was an integrated that curriculum we had. Now we are saying that the kids are, blending the primary schools and the religious Quranic schools. I'm asking myself if I would do that. I think it's very frightening. I wouldn't do that. It's very difficult to. But the sister Sanabar is right as well. The society is different. I think she's just seeing that the society in Turkey is can embrace this. It's not easy for a kid, to do that. I agree with you 100%, but it's a mutual problem. It's not only the Quranic schools, the curriculum is also the normal curriculum that it has to be like, revamped somehow to meet somewhere so that the kids can learn both at the same time instead of having a part. Instead of going to a different entity all the time, it's sometimes also it's including some elements other than just bombarding the knowledge. Just having the kids just play, and then instead of learning all the time, especially in Quranic schools, which I think there are good examples of that all around the world. That could be something. I know in Turkey as well. That's something in some mosques or in some entities that is also done. That's my view, though. I would like to get perhaps if there is another, the view on this. The point. Otherwise, we can move forward. I think that was the Sanaber's question, the points was towards Dr. Küçüköner and also to you, Esra. Would you like to say something? Otherwise, we can move on to the next.
No, thank you, hocam. I'm totally agree with you and Rumeysa hocam. Thank you so much.
All right, great. Any other questions to other speakers, Rakim, Dr. Khan? I have a question for Rakim. Rakim, are you around? Oh, okay. Now, Maya, please, your hand is up. Please go ahead. And,
I am actually, this is my first time attending the ISLA Symposium, and I'm impressed. And I'm always impressed by the knowledge that the Muslim world can bring together once they're collectively working together. And I see that I teach at an Islamic school in North America, and our problems remain the same problems proposed by the presentation of the government funding for the model school in Philippines. I was wondering, how can we take this to the next step where schools actually collaborate together so we can feel more autonomous, not having to rely on government funding, not having to struggle alone, where teachers share resources, because apparently everybody has the same value and the same target and goal. And I'm a big advocate of decolonization in education, and this is what I talk to my students about. When are we going to feel autonomous in the sense like our education is approved and recognized university without having to I'm not going to say bow down, but having to, if for example, if someone is not haven't studied somewhere specifically, their education credentials will not be recognized. I wish to see this conference turn into something that can actually help teachers in classrooms and empower them, and empower Islamic schools to have that strength in the community without having to I perhaps I'm failing to get my message across, but I really wish we can take this into actual classrooms and help teachers and do something about it rather than just being in the research phase and seeing the problems. That's just my hope as a humble middle school teacher who is trying on a daily basis to help my students understand they don't need to think of the world as secular and holistic. It's one world. And that's basically it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Dr. Atabay, do you mind if I jump in really quickly?
Sure.
That, because I appreciate it, Sister May, right? And I'll also humbly ask, I see that we have Dr. Seema here. I'd love for you to also chime in, because I think, Sister May, you bring up a really good point in terms of how can we take this research, right? And the academic side of things as practitioners, right? I also work with middle school as well, too. And this is something that we constantly face. How do we take the research and the information that is out there and actually put into practice? And I just wanted to touch on it a little bit from ISLA's perspective, right? Because we do professional learning communities throughout the year. We do these professional developments virtually and in person, to really move beyond. We do research here at ISLA. We use partners such as IIIT and a lot of the Yaqeen and the community organizations that also help to do research. But we also like to put it into practice through the toolkits that we put out there. And I think, inshallah, we invite you to, and all of our educators who are here, who are sitting there asking that question, just like you eloquently put forward, how can I, as a practitioner in the classroom setting, in an organization setting, actually put this into practice? And I think what we're trying to do is build that network as well. I don't know if Dr. Seema, if you have anything to add to that. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Thank you,
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's wonderful to see the Sunday group. I'm really happy that I got in here and heard all of this. And the intentions and the energy that everyone has, to consider Islamic schools. This is a great question. How can we take it further? How can we get to the next step? ISLA's in the habit of listening. So we hear you. We have already done many things related to classroom. The next session today is research from 5 people talking about reimagining the classroom. So I think that ISLA will continue to hear you. How can we take it to the next step? I think you probably have to, remind us and keep some notes, which presentation and which idea, because this all is going to flow together in a couple of days, right? I have some notes, but it doesn't mean that we can put everything in action. But that's how I think when we take this to the classroom, being a former classroom teacher, I remember a professor told me once, you cannot do everything at once. So look at this research symposium as I'm going to take the 1 or 2 or 3 things that I really think are valuable back to my classroom. And before you leave this symposium scenario and the desk you're sitting at, write down how you think you can best implement 1, 2, 3 from which symposium presenters. Get their contact and see what, is really important to you. You cannot do it all. You cannot do it all at once. And there are lots of things that overlap and you can do together. So try to make the connections. I like visual images. And I'm already in my mind, since I'm chairing the next session, connecting the dots from what you just said to the next 5 presenters. That's my thought. It never ends. The mind will be running for days on the content we got today and yesterday.
Thank you, Sister
Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts and very valuable always. And we have another question in the chat box. I want to address that one as well. That question is again to Dr. Rumeysa Küçüköner. So from Derya, I'm going to read it out. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for this great session. The knowledge shared has been incredible. I have a question for Dr. Rumeysa. Did she conduct her observation in the city of Diyarbakır, which is located in southeast Turkey? If so, what does she think her result would potentially be like if she conducted the same study in Marmara or the Mediterranean region, for example? That's a great question. I was also wondering if she can elaborate more on the data collection process. She mentioned student feedback on how they act differently between their formal schools, chronic schools, a home, blah, blah. Was she able to observe students in all 3 settings? I don't know if you could, if you were able to capture, but the first question is the location. I can read out the second question again, or you can have a look at the chat, Dr. Küçüköner. Yes.
Thank you, Daria, for your questions. It was really great questions for me because I conducted my studies in the Izmir, in the western part of Turkey, not in the eastern part of Turkey, Diyarbakır. I know if I did my study in Diyarbakır, the result would be very, very different. I am sure about it because the Diyarbakır is more conservative city. We know the western part of Turkey, especially Izmir, very secular city when I compare with the Diyarbakır and Izmir. And Izmir, the families are especially pious families. They are so it is really hard to describe, but they are so eagerly to educate their kids or their children in a religious way. After that, they really put big effort. In that sense, I think that the project is not in the Diyarbakır. The project is only from the middle, in the middle part of the Turkey and the western part of the Turkey. The Diyanet, we called it Diyanet, offered in a kind of that religious support education with the formal education system. And I couldn't see myself, but you can see me? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And let's look at the other questions. And she told...
It's about the data collection process.
Yes, it was the
if
data
you could
collection.
elaborate.
Yes,
Yeah.
data collection process was really hard because I studied with the kids because before starting studies, generally we know as an academic, I applied for the ethical procedures. After that, I ethical the approvement and I started to study with the kids and I applied for the part-time instructor for a Quran course in the center of the Izmir. And I started to study with the kids and I talk with their family. I have to come to your home for especially once a week. I went to once a week for only one kid's home. And I started to experience, this sometimes creates a big problem for me because remember from your childhood, when your teacher comes to your home, we feel a kind of anxiety, a kind of like that, not behave like ourselves. But when I made interviews with the families, they always say there is a really big gap between our kids and especially these kids between the 7 years old and 14 years old, and I went to the normal formal school systems, and I spoke with their teacher, and these teachers are very pious teacher, not secular teacher. I know secular teachers doesn't permit me to enter their class and to observe the relation, and pious teacher said me, you can come and you can sit in my class, and I start to observe these students, especially in every class there are 5 or 6 students, like they combine the religious education system and formal education system, and this was my data collection procedures. I couldn't remember another questions. Is there another questions? I am
No,
not sure
I think
about.
also, I think the question is, I think you answered all the questions as well as I understand. And I think, Daria, I think if anything is missing, please, you can put in the chat. And that's my understanding. Thank you so much, Dr. Küçüköner. Okay. Any other questions to any of the presenters? I have a comment to Mr. Sadheer Khan. The Sadheer, Brother Sadheer, is that possible to give some real scenario or example about the PBL, project-based learning that you are using in your institution? Like,
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doctor. In Pakistan, we have a significant amount of madrasa, but not all madrasas are focusing on project-based learning. Mostly they are they want to teach and train their teachers like the classical method of teaching, like teacher-centered teaching method. But there are few madrasas like Jamiatul Rashid, Minhaj al-Quran, and Baitul Salam. These kind of big madrasas, they are now establishing the curriculum for the curriculum like the project based curriculum in Dars Nizami, especially like the 8 years ulama course in Pakistan. But Jamiatul Rashid, they established their own examination board and examination. Also, they established their curriculum for madrasa and for Islamic schools. And they have Al-Biruni model schools, and they are going to establish one branch of this school in Canada also. And but especially the method of project-based learning in this curriculum is like when we teach students about Islamic fiqh, like Kitab al-Zakat, Kitab al-Hajj, Kitab al-Buju. So in this case, in this curriculum, they not just like they teach the book or the words of the books and the students just memorize, but rather than they bring students to the market, and students observe the Islamic banking system in the market, and they are going to the stock exchange, and they observe the system there, and when they visit there, after that they observe the for example Kitab al-Muzaraba and the Buju system. So this kind of projects are very useful for the students. And the another most important thing for the children also, and for the big students, like they give the students some projects about the lesson. Teacher will provide few extra content for the project, and the teacher will help in this project, and students will go to the market and go to the bazaar, and they will get the information data, and then they will make presentation, and then present in the class and present in front of all madrasa graduates, madrasa students. So this kind of the research project in Pakistani madrasa, especially in Jamiatul Rashid and Minhaj al-Quran. So this is my also PhD thesis. I already done my PhD thesis and submitted to my supervisor. Hopefully, inshallah, I have a viva in this end of this year, inshallah, and this will be very helpful for me to to establish this kind of method in all over the world and everywhere where the madrasa or Islamic schools are existing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sadheer. I think that answers the question very well. One of the reasons I asked, so we have a specific program at IIIT here under the TFI. It's called Integration of Knowledge Program. You might have heard before, and it's a residential for graduate and undergraduate students, and it's been running for I think quite a long time. And one is in summer and one in winter. The winter program for the undergraduate students and the summer program. So in that, we're going to be also offering the online program, and hopefully, inshallah, it's going to be run in the fall of 2026. We have also many participants from all over the world.
I already enrolled in this kind of program.
Yeah, you already enrolled. Okay, inshallah. We are trying to wrap it up, and we are trying to fix the schedule for the fall. That also includes, it's the maqasid al-Qur'an and the Sunnah using the critical thinking tools, the research-based tools and everything, using the divine and human-made knowledge as well. It's a very useful problem, and the more or less this is the issues or the problems that we were mentioning, and you are adapting in your institution.
Thank you very much, Prof. One more thing, if you allow me to share.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Because I have a own institutions in Pakistan, madrasah.pk, that I already share information to you. We are working on madrasa people in from every school of thought like Shia, Deobandi, Brelvis existing in Pakistan. So my plan after my graduation from here, I will be in Islamabad, and we have planned to establish the IIIT branch in Islamabad. If it is established before, so we will collaborate with them. If not, so this is my plan to establish this. And also I have a trainer of digital and AI tools on social media and also in my institution, where I train madrasa graduates how to do research and how to use this kind of the digital tools for your knowledge and for your ilm.
Great. Oh, yeah, thank you. I hope it's going to work that way. Okay, now I think we need to wrap up this session. I know it's been very, very productive and, very, very knowledgeable session. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the presenters and audience again, and may Allah reward all of you. And I see that Aziz just pulled up a new slide here, and you can get the complete Symposium resource booklet from this link, I believe, Aziz. And what we have on the next slide, Aziz, if you could just, all right, okay, you can, follow the ISLA on the social media platforms as well. That's a great way of connecting. Also, you can, I think, sign up for the email groups. I think ISLA has also the listserv. That is also going to be a great way of connecting and networking. And actually, we're going to be using that listserv if you, and we're going to be, that's a great way of connecting all the research and practice and everything so that we can communicate. We can even make up like a steering groups, and Dr. Sima Imam is here. I think she's going to coordinate all these things, and amazing job the ISLA and Dr. Khan, also Shaza Khan is doing, and thank you so much all, and inshallah, we're going to conclude this session. Alhamdulillah, subhanallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, everyone. Jazakallah khair.